I missed seeing at the was it the British and Irish Film Festival? What are they called?
I don't know if you came to it.
I didn't come to it, no, but it was showing at that same festival you saw Hard Truths at was Kneecap. Now, when I saw the trailers, I was like, I think this is right up my alley because we both have Irish ancestry, Hart, and my former name McGowan, very Irish.
E on the end.
With the E, you gotta have the E.
That's the Irish bit.
And I just thought, well, it's an Irish film, and it kind of looks like a drug-addled music kind of. It's all about sort of starting up a band and how that goes, but when I wish I'd seen it on the big screen. When it comes out, I would like, when it gets wider release, which I'm sure it will, really like to see it on the big screen. It is an exciting, exhilarating, passionate experience, just thrilling. And the big core of it is that the Irish actually have their own language, and when they were colonized by the British, it's like the Māori here in New Zealand, they were kind of forbidden to speak their own language. So it's all about these indigenous languages that are threatened and they die. There's indigenous languages dying, being killed off by colonists, of the scum of the earth, just trying to get rid of these amazing languages. And the languages that you speak affect how you think, how you dream, how you communicate. Language is so incredibly important. And this band, Kneecap, I didn't look till right at the end that they're an actual real band, and I'm definitely going to start listening to them. The way that they've resurrected their language and made it relevant for an entire new generation, it's like using their words instead of bullets. It's a revolutionary act. I believe that music can be very revolutionary. That's why our music's so political and so passionate, because we're trying to get people informed and angry and connect others over these issues. It's just brilliant film. So excited about it.
The music's a little bit like House of Pain or Prodigy or something. But
it's quite simple, but it works so effectively. The beats are quite simple, but the lyrics aren't. It was like seeing it like the 90s kind of drug-addled films like 24 Hour Party People and films like that I really enjoyed watching. Trainspotting, but it was a lot more fun. But it's also got a lot of serious issues that it's tackling. It's that balance of like fun and youth and really important political messages, and it does a really good job on all fronts while being this incredibly entertaining and exhilarating film that I had to like make sure I've got a copy of that so I can just take it out whenever, because I found it incredibly inspiring.
And I just saw today that it's been shortlisted for the Irish, like it's been submitted as the Irish like International Film of the Year at the Oscars.
Oh, good!
So
better get
it's
in.
on the shortlist for nominations. Yeah,
it should. It's so good, so good. I can't believe they're musicians, but they act so well. Great actors, very convincing as actors. But I guess a lot of people who are musicians kind of are performers in a way. So it's that crossover.
And I'm not usually a huge zombie film fan, although there are some that I really like 28 Days Later, so I'm very excited about 28 Years Later and the other ones after that. But there was one, I think it was Norwegian, Scandinavian film called Handling the Undead by Thea Vistendal, if that's how you pronounce it. And it's just a very different approach, very sort of slow moving, but
thoughtful.
But yeah, I usually just find zombies so funny, and I'm not into comedy horror that much, unless it's really sort of black comedy. But this is quite serious, and I guess it's like what would actually happen in reality if your child became a zombie or something.
They're very different kind of zombies too. They're sluggish. They seem more dead, which is it's more kind of feasible, I guess. But yeah, it touches on some really interesting themes, and it has such a thoughtful, measured, and very confident direction behind it.
Yeah, and the effects are actually kind of scary but quite emotional as well.
Subtle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one really sticks with you. But like The Devil's Bath.
Yeah.
I really liked the one film I remember really liking at the NZIFF was Cuckoo with Hunter Shaver. I love Hunter Shaver. She could be in anything and I'd watch it. But luckily it's a great film, a great vehicle for her. And who's that guy's name? I always forget because it's so like boring.
Dan Stevens.
Dan Stevens. I love Dan Stevens, but that's the most forgettable name ever. I always forget his name. Dan Stevens was great. There's just something very odd about Cuckoo that I really enjoyed. It's just different from anything else. It's just different. It's strange. It's unsettling.
It's like Phenomena. It's a sort of alpine giallo.
Yeah, it has that sort of element, but it gets way weirder. And yeah, just, I don't know, it's freaking weird. I loved it. It was really fun and enjoyable, and also quite moving at times as well. It's one of those sort of complex horror films. Oh,
Told in the proper way.
You liked it too, didn't you?
Yeah, I really liked it. I liked it a lot. Not on my favorite 10, I guess, but sort of a runner up. Maybe one way to remember his forgettable name is to think of people that you don't like. Think of Steven for Steven Spielberg, and think of Dan for Steely Dan.
It's quite complicated. I'll just try to remember it.
But you really do. I played Hannah Steely Dan recently, and she hated them.
I did not. I was like, what is
And you
this?
hate
It's so
Steven Spielberg
twiddly.
too. So.
And no, I didn't like it. What about you? What was your next other favourite?
It was Eno, the documentary, which is sort of a...
That was a cool experience.
I don't know if they call it interactive, but it changes each time. It's sort of made so that it's got millions of different possible variants, and so, but it's, in a way, it's kind of annoying because I'd like to see all of the other footage
and not have had to have seen Bono for freaking 5 or 10 minutes. I literally had my hands over my ears. I was just about crying. I was like, please, why?
Yeah,
I mean, I know we're Irish and all, but it doesn't mean we like you too. That was painful. There was so many other cool things we could have seen, and we saw that. It was just.
I feel like maybe it was supposed to be painful as well, but they was sort of like, I can't remember exactly, but I feel like they were sort of making fun of him, like how he was sort of over projecting when he was singing in the studio.
Really annoying.
To be fair, the stuff that Eno did with them is easily the best U2, but it's still horrible.
Still U2.
Thanks to them.
Yeah, that was a cool experience.
Yeah, it was a great documentary.
Completely sold out. So yeah, there's people love cinema in Otatahi, and they turn up for it.
Yes, they scared the shit out of me when someone at the film festival said they were thinking this year of not even having a Christchurch, NZIFF, which is really terrifying. It made me want to move to Auckland, but I don't like Auckland.
It would be very, very sad if we lost that. But the Lumiere has been nominated for the best cinema in Aotearoa.
By AIDA or something, like an Australian. It stands for some Australian. Australasian.
Yes,
best
Australasian.
Cinema thing, but it's a certain company. But yeah, it's really, really cool.
It's a big deal for the Lumiere, and it absolutely deserves great staff.
I wouldn't go into that.
Yeah, but
Jesus.
most of the staff is fucking the most wonderful people you'll ever meet. And Nick Paris, who runs the show, he's amazing. I used to talk to him at Allison Videoland, which was this great. But that's how I got into cinema, thanks to Allison Videoland. They always had these really interesting films you couldn't get other places. So he's like such an important figure in cinema in Christchurch.
Lumiere's been going for a long time. I mean, he did Lumiere before
it was in the Arts Centre.
Before Alice's back in the square. And
that was such a cool theatre.
I did some of my first gigs with this group, the CM Ensemble. Like I sort of organised, he let me choose a film that I wanted him to screen, which was Blue Velvet. Which I
got to see.
Yeah, and I had a band, a free jazz band that played on stage before the screening. And
what were we, 16, 17 at the time? You must have been 18, maybe.
Yeah, I would have been
quite young.
Probably 17. No, I would have been like 17 or 18, I think.
I hadn't seen it before, and seeing it on the big screen with them playing first was something else.
And my mum came with her friend who left in the Frank Booth scene, his first scene.
It's a little much for some people.
I think I did a screening of Dead Man as well, maybe something like that. But yeah, he's been doing stuff for a long time with cinema in Christchurch, so it's well deserved.
So I think that we'll be getting the film festival back. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, just
let's will it into
it'd be
continuing existence.
Be to happen. I really also loved I guess this is a zombie film too. Mads! Was it French?
Yeah.
Or was it German?
French. It's
French.
by one of the two guys that did Them, which is like a home invasion horror, and they did that American remake of The Eye with Jessica Alba
Right.
as well. Sort of part of the
bad.
French New Extremity
Really?
movement.
It wasn't
that
bad.
kind of moved to Hollywood, like Alexandra Asia. Yeah.
That I just wanted more though. Like at the end of it, I was like, "Can I please have 3 more movies of this? Because this is just it was like my crack, I guess." Mads, it was just everything I wanted. It seemed to be just one long continuous take, kind of verging on found footage vibes. Little incredible pacing, and the way that this thing spreads and the things that start to happen around, and the performances of the characters, they're so unhinged, and it's a really interesting virus. It's very tricky to kind of, it doesn't fit into any known zombie genre. It's almost more like this virus that's infecting people, and you're seeing it all unfold in real time about how the rest of the city is starting to get affected and how it's infecting others. It's got this, it's just wow. Like, that's another one I really want to see on the big screen and with a big sound system, and just like, it's like a roller coaster ride, and it's just so much fun, and it's so well done on such a tiny budget. From what I could tell, I couldn't recognize any big actors. So good. You all got to see it. It's brilliant. So excited about that.
Well, I'm going to go into my runners up, but do you have another favourite?
I still have one more. I think I've got one
Beginning
left.
with L.
Yes, of course, Long Legs. How can I not love Long Legs? It was so weird that it was so divisive. Like, I don't understand why people didn't love Long Legs. Nicolas Cage did a performance apparently very much influenced by his mother, which is very interesting.
And his dad, like a combination. Oh no, Renfield. Sorry,
Renfield was his dad.
That was it
felt like Silence of the Lambs-ish, like that level of awesomeness, but with some creepy occulty stuff going on, and even Nicolas. I think a lot of people just didn't get what the film was doing, but Nicolas Cage, when he's doing his little song about "You're Gonna Let Me In," it's like he's casting the spell. There's some very Lynchian moments in there with the smoke. To me, it's very, very occult, and maybe if you don't know so many occultist kind of references and like ideas of occultism and how magic works and Satanism, I guess maybe it would be a bit over your head, but I thought it was pretty accessible. And Micah Monroe, I love her so much. Once again, incredible performance. She's just like this. She's just like on edge and strung out and like shitting herself. Like, you can just tell every muscle in her body is tense the entire time, which would have been completely exhausting, but she was just wonderful. And I was actually thinking we should do our worst and do a two-parter, because this is getting really long.
No, I'll just go through them and list them off. I don't want to like talk about them. They don't deserve that. I'm gonna just get him down because he's gonna knock my paintings.
Oh, he loves to knock the paintings down on our heads.
Yes, you grumble guts.
He really is like a child to us, with all of the grumps that go along with it. All the complaints. Yes, you're actually much more difficult than my human children ever were, I think. But yes, we just love it to pieces. So yeah, Long Legs, great, loved it. Are we going to do like our references? I'm just going to
quickly do my runners up.
Yes.
The Front Room, which is by Max and Sam Eggers, Robert Eggers brothers. People seem to hate it, but I think they're expecting exactly another, like, you know, The Lighthouse or something, but it's more the woman who played the witch from the tragedy of Macbeth flinging her feces at people.
And if you've
it's really hilarious.
It's so good. And if you've ever had a nightmare in-law, not your mum, my ex's mum, who just tries to interfere with every aspect of your life and gaslights everyone around you and just is generally awful. Like, to me, I was like, I know this woman. I've had to deal with her before, so it really nailed the whole horrific mother-in-law thing. Yes, I could identify.
Bird by Andrea Arnold, which I also saw at the British Film Festival. Really good score by Burial as well, and the best, like the only good use of a Coldplay song in a movie. I hate Coldplay as much, or nearly as much as I hate U2, but there's a scene with a toad that the Barry Keoghan has.
I can't wait to see this one.
And he's like he said, if everyone's at this like bachelor's party, everyone is drunk, and if they serenade the toad with the singing along to Yellow by Coldplay.
I did like that one.
Yeah, that's why I say nearly as bad
emotional.
as you two.
Yeah.
But there's With or Without You.
Yellow is the only song of Coldplay I ever really. I was like, I do kind of love this one.
Yeah, but if they serenade this toad, apparently it'll sweat hallucinogenics, and he has this big sheet of glass that he's like has the toad lying on so that it'll drip it into like a bottle, and he's going to try and sell the hallucinogenics so for money for the wedding that they're having a bachelor party for.
That sounds so weird.
Anyway, she's really good. She did Red Roads and
Red Roads is really good.
Red Road
Red Road.
And American Honey and a few other things. But Challenges, I really liked.
That was on my. I took my mum to see that because I knew she loves tennis, and Luca Guadagnino. I mean,
anything he does is good.
On the big screen, they did some revolutionary new stuff with the tennis balls, sort of point of view shots that just blew my mind. So much fun.
And
Great.
He even made the actors look like they were real tennis players.
My mum was totally convinced. I think they must actually be able to play pretty good tennis.
I've seen a lot of... They don't. I've watched interviews, but I've seen... I
was totally convinced.
I know, but I'm about to say, I've seen a lot of other people interviewing Luca saying, how did you do that? They looked like tennis pros, and it was all just sort of trick photography, basically. I've seen like behind the scenes, and sometimes they're not even playing tennis, they're just jumping off trampolines to make it look like they're kind of flying through
I totally bought it. The illusion was perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, love Challenges.
Anora, we talked about that. Smile 2, Cuckoo, Exhumer, the Korean film.
Yes, that's great. It's like folk horror. Oh, that was good. That was very good. Unfortunately, we saw it in the most hideous, terrible theatre, Hoyt's Christchurch. The theatre is
Hoyt's in town is good.
Riccarton. Hoyt's in town is great. NTX, we love that. It's like our second favourite cinema. But Hoyt's at Riccarton is horrific. And I hated it so much, and I hated being there, and I just felt dirty and disgusting and crawling from being there. But a great film.
I do like the programming at Alice's as well, but their cinemas are very small. I mean, it's basically a video shop with a couple of tiny cinemas. But
and the seats suck.
I'm going tonight to see a 4K restoration of The Terminator, which I'm very excited about.
Yeah, it's a shame. If their seats weren't so horrifically uncomfortable and it wasn't such a small theatre, I might go to more. But they're really expensive anyway.
A Different Man, I really liked.
That was really cool.
And Love Lies Bleeding by Rose Glass.
Yes, I almost put that in my top 10. I love that so much. Oh my god, that was so good. That was so good, so good. I freaking she did
Saint Maud.
Saint Maud, which we adore, one of our favourites. And I thought Love Lies Bleeding was it was different, but it was still just definitely of the same caliber. I absolutely adored it. Yeah. So good.
And I want to put on my favourite, already said it, but I want to repeat it again, The Brutalist and Queer, both, I know that I'm going to love them.
And probably Nosferatu, though I'm really not sure if Lily Rose Depp can pull it off. I'm not
as big a fan of Robert Eggers as you. I prefer Ari Aster just because they're friends and they came out at the same time.
The Northman was a bit of a letdown. Yes, but otherwise I really like his work. Hang on, close that window.
I don't mind them, but
I really like them.
I mean, I like them, but I'm just not. They're not like favourite films of mine or anything. I liked The Witch.
The Witch is so good, and I love The Lighthouse. I was a bit obsessed with The Lighthouse. But yes, I mean, I am excited about that. But I also am a bit worried that it won't be as amazing as I would hope.
Okay, so these are my absolute worst.
Can I just do
sorry.
I've just got a couple. I just want to quickly mention The Deliverance. Yes. The first half of that movie was looking to be the top 10 of the year. The second half of the movie, not so much. So it's like my best and my worst. But if you want to see Glenn Close as this like trashy lady,
yeah, it was amazing.
It was kind of like the new Exorcist, more of a drama than a horror.
It's by Lee Daniels, who did Precious. So he's very good with sort of relationships. And
it just got really silly towards the end, but I love that it was sort of a Pentecostal.
The first half was great.
I like that.
I fell asleep during the second half.
Yeah, the second half wasn't great.
Silly.
I really liked The Apprentice, which is about Trump.
I like
terrifying. Totally explains how Trump got to be the way he is. There was this guy that basically influenced him, kind of turned him into the Trump he is now, especially with
Roy Cohn.
Roy Cohn.
Was a sort of gay New York lawyer who sort of bribed politicians to get what he wanted. But the other thing that got Trump where he is cheap speed.
Cheap
I mean,
speed.
that's when the
Mm.
personality that we know and love today sort of reared its ugly head.
That was a disturbing film, but really well done. I loved every second of it. Really great performance.
Worth it alone for the scene where he's at a party of Roy Cohen's and the lights are all red, the rooms are all red, and they're all sort of men fucking each other, and to the soundtrack of Ghost Rider.
Yeah,
Suicide.
Suicide, that was brilliant. Really like that. Alien Romulus. Okay, I love that it was mostly practical effects, but there's this one thing that wasn't a practical effect, involving Sir Ian Holm, who I venerate. Made me so angry and so sick.
He looked like someone from, what's it called? Thunderbirds, like that kind of puppety sort of face with the mouth that couldn't move properly. It was just bad CGI.
It actually fucking ruined the movie for me, and they just kept beating us over the head with it. And there were other ways they could have done it, and they shouldn't have fucking done it. So, but otherwise,
great. Apart from that, it was
I
great.
really liked it, and it was an amazing big screen experience. Stop motion, really cool, weird, great practical effects, just kind of sticky, weird under your skin.
Yeah, that was good.
Different. Great. Apartment 7A, which is like a prequel to Rosemary's Baby. Really great performance by that woman. She's got that neat face.
I've forgotten her name, but she was in a good Aussie set film in the Grand Hotel or something.
And she played that fake Aries.
That German woman that ripped everyone off in New York.
She's a great actress. I thought it was great. I thought it was a really, really good prequel. It fit really well into the universe. I really enjoyed it. Sting was a French spider horror, and I thought
also your favourite musician.
Who?
Sting.
No. He's not bad.
Who's one of your dad's favourites.
He's not bad. There's nothing wrong with him. I'm not a real big fan. But yeah, it's like big spiders in an apartment. Love apartment movies. I love good horror, fast paced. Gave me nightmares about spiders. Like I hallucinated a massive spider right next to my head. Horrifying. Got into my head. That's great. And Terrifier 3. I think the stories are always a bit meh, but the practical effects. Of course, I was in heaven. I was rewinding bits all the time, and I just really admire the work that was done on that film. Just the practical effects, gloriousness was great. Okay, worst films, real quick.
Okay, mine, Wicked. I haven't even seen it, but I hate it.
I
hate it. And I even more hate I hate musicals, but unless they're like Dancer in the Dark and they kind of play with the form a bit.
Oh, Hedwig.
But well, yeah, you love that one. I don't mind it, but yeah, the press tour for Wicked is even more. I hate that even more.
We just know we'll hate it, so we're just going to hate it.
Night Bitch. I really wanted to love it, but the ending, by the end of the film, was just so schmaltzy and kind of like light, and it's supposed to be a body horror, but it's not.
I when I heard of it, I said I think they're ripping off Clarissa Esther's book Women Who Run with the Wolves, which is all about how women, often mothers, will give up their wild creative natures and end up going kind of insane, and how important it is to keep that part of yourself whole. But the book obviously does it way better. I didn't see it because I knew
I'm sure it was inspired by the book.
She wouldn't admit that she was inspired by it, but that is the essence from what Nick's told me. It's the essence of The Woman Who Run with the Wolves, but I just don't think it was done very well. And I also don't think she didn't acknowledge the book. She didn't.
Okay, any film that begins with this film was shot on 35mm. It's just like people who actually can tell that a film is, that care about that kind of stuff, will be able to tell as soon as they see the image.
Bad start.
It's, just
really
irritating.
Bad start.
Strange Darling is the film I'm talking about, and I just found it so kind of
We were just, when they put
irritating.
that up, we went, okay, well, now I don't think I like this very much. It just Kyle.
It was a very sort of smug film.
Oh, it was so like, we're so great. This is so good. We're so arty. Look at us using our film, and you could just feel that through the whole film. Kyle Gallner, I love him. I loved him in Dinner in America.
Yeah.
I think he's great. He was great.
There was some good. There were some okay twists, but it just. But it was more like the feeling I get from a Tarantino film where I know that I would not want to spend time with the person who directed that film, is that their personality is so irritating, and it's like smeared all across the screen.
Oh, it's so. So yeah.
Mean Girls. We had to stop watching that because
it was a musical.
It was just so irritating as
Like,
well.
no.
A Mistake by Christine Jeffs. I wrote a review of that, a really negative review, and
It's Kiwi.
yeah, like I feel bad dissing a New Zealand film, but I also hate kind of nationalism, so who cares really? It was just a terrible, embarrassing film, really. I don't
want to pay for it. I'm not paying for that. No.
Just so I have a kind of frame of reference, they also showed an earlier film of hers called, I think it was called Rain, from the 90s maybe, at the Film Society that I go to, and that was a lot better, but it was still just, it was not memorable. It was overly sentimental and kind of like in the way, okay, American Beauty, that plastic bag scene.
No, yeah.
Like, you know, I can't even remember the narration, but it's just so cheesy. And they actually literally had a plastic bag scene in a mistake. This guy's like, you know, got his hands in his head and he's sitting outside kind of because he's killed someone on the operating table. And then it pans away to this plastic bag and the camera kind of follows it around as the wind carries it away.
That is horrific.
So that gives you an idea of why I hate that.
That sounds terrible.
Rebel Ridge, I didn't hate that as much. But
Aaron Petty, the main actor, Aaron Petty.
Oh yeah,
he was great. He's great, but he couldn't save it. It was boring. It was boring.
It was
tedious,
dull, and it's
yeah.
Jeremy Saulnier who did Blue Ruin and Green Room and Hold the Dark and some, you know, that Jeffrey Wright film.
Yeah, I loved Hold the Dark. Great film.
He's
fantastic.
He's good in the past, so it was disappointing to see him.
We were excited to
like
see him,
that.
but we did not like.
The Exorcism, directed by the kid from Near Dark, which is why I really wanted to watch it, but it's Russell Crowe.
Oh, that was
so
terrible.
cheesy and
It was
bad.
bad. There's nothing good about it, really.
Your Monster, by Caroline Lindy. I just found that again so annoying, and it was like a sort of comedy horror. Do you remember that? Exactly. We watched it quite recently at Rebecca's place, and it's like a woman.
Oh, that one was it was awful. It was awful. She was such a narcissistic, awful character.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a terrible film. At times I thought it might be okay, but it was just it was fucking terrible. Terrible movie. Awful, ghastly.
And my last choice, and unfortunately probably the worst out of all of these, apart from maybe Wicked, which I haven't seen, is Megalopolis by Francis Ford Coppola. I hated that film, and I wanted to love it.
I didn't have any faith in it. I looked at all the CGI. I looked at the big CGI sets, and I went, "No, I'm all right. I don't need to see that."
I've wanted to love everything he's done since Dracula, but I've kind of hated everything he's done since. You know, I still haven't seen The Rainmaker, which was maybe the film he did after Dracula. So that might be okay, but
I have no faith in that man.
Since he sort of switched to, he's shot a lot of stuff digitally, and his films just look very different, and the writing's very different, and it just doesn't feel like Coppola. And I mean, I know he's very sort of obsessed with the idea of pushing cinema into the future, but I don't think that having someone, you know, like an usher coming in and reciting dialogue replying to a character on the screen is the future of cinema necessarily. Like it just felt like very geriatric.
Yeah, that's what my son said. He's like, it's like an old boomer man. It's just really out of touch. Yeah, you could tell. Yeah. You could tell.
Yes, very disappointing.
I did not like Don't Move, which should have really been called Can't Move, which is one of the reasons I got so annoyed at it. Had some great potential, some Hitchcockian kind of moments, but ended up being so predictable. Kind of a good ending, I guess, you know, yeah, but nah. Salem's Lot. So it had some interesting, like, kind of imagery at the beginning, and I thought, this could be alright. It's so bad, it's just absolute trash. But if you've got a kid under 10 that wants to watch a horror movie, Salem's Lot, you bet you could definitely show this to a little wee kid.
It's like a TV episode or something.
So bad, my God. Speak No Evil, what the fuck would they make an American remake? But they fucking did. And I knew that they couldn't do it right. And they did not.
Because it's Blumhouse. And it was...
Fucking Blumhouse.
It was...
I was like, oh, it's Blumhouse. It's really...
It was actually... I mean, the four main actors are really good actors.
Sure. They're great.
James McAvoy.
I love him.
He was very good in an intimidating kind of role. Scoot McNairy, who I really like.
Yeah.
And I've forgotten her name, but she was in Blade
so
Runner
good.
2049
Yeah, she's
and a
awesome.
few other things that we really like.
I love her.
And the other woman was in The Nightingale.
Yes.
She was really good.
So you got these great actors, but
they just completely, they changed everything about it that
made it.
was good. They just tacked on a Hollywood ending at the end, and
which is the
I'm going to spoil it, but it's like they basically, you know, the original was so shocking because of what happened, but in this one he like saves the boy and kills the baddie. And
totally out of character.
It's so American.
His character's like all of a sudden he's just going to be this kind of character. Stupid. Awful. I think that was my biggest hate of the entire year was Speak No Evil. And it's such a shame because great actors, but you shouldn't fucking, it's like when they tried to do Goodnight Mommy in American, they had Naomi Watts. I love it. It was terrible. It's
and
fucking
the
awful.
guy who directed Eden Lake directed it too. I mean, which isn't a bad horror, but he obviously they pressured him to change the ending.
Maybe I don't know.
I think he would have wanted to do an ending like the original, but just judging by Eden Lake, I mean, that's pretty intense.
Yeah, I hated it so much. I had some faith because he'd done Eden Lake, but no, I knew it was going to have that sort of ending. It's Blumhouse, they suck. Twisters, I fucking hated that with an absolute passion. Just oh my god,
I saw it by myself at the reading at the Palms, and I saw it with quite a full theatre, and it was a really good kind of popcorn movie. It was quite a lot of. I just like
mushy.
I mean, I probably wouldn't like it if it was about something else, but I like tornadoes, and it was kind of a good tornado film.
No, I disagree. I hated it. Hold Your Breath. What was that one again? That's so forgettable.
I don't know.
Hold Your Breath. I put that on my list. I can't even remember what the movie's about. Hold Your Breath. I must have hated it.
Remember.
Uglies. Stupid. Okay, this is the last one. Uglies. So you get these really attractive people and you're like, oh, we're really ugly. We're going to be beautiful once we get a transformation. I could not. There was a scene with like an old roller coaster and she's going down on this board and it's like a Marvel movie. And just the whole premise.
It's directed by someone named Mick G.
Stinks.
Mick G.
That's just their name, just Mick G.
And he's the guy that Christian Bale famously went American Psycho at when they were making Terminator Salvation. He just kind of went, there's like audio of it, and he's the guy that...
It's so bad. There was so much money spent on that film. The absolute trash piece of film that just didn't need to be made and had a terrible premise from the get-go, and it's so insulting to have actresses like, I think his name's Zoe, she was in The Act, that she's supposed to be ugly? Are you fucking kidding me? None of the people were ugly beforehand. The stupidest idea, and I guess they were trying to go for like a Brave New World kind of vibe, totally failed. Just, I hate that so much money was spent on that film for it to be such a piece of shit. It was an absolute piece of shit. Yeah.
And that's it, is it?
It.
Or
No, that's it.
Okay.
So thank you for sitting with us through this exhaustive
retrospective
of what the year that was 2024. And yeah, hopefully in the future, if we come across something that we really love or really hate, we will talk to you about it.
Yes.
So have a nice rest of your year. Have a good Xmas and New Year's. And I hope all sorts of good things happen for you.
Okay.
Yay.
Bye.
Bye.